I'm back. I know what you're thinking. Where the hell have you been? Boy, do I have some amazing stories, wisdom, knowledge, experiences to share with you. But before we get into that, cheers to this new year. Very exciting stuff on the horizon. Hopefully, you had an opportunity to listen to my latest podcast because it is not only a subject matter for my latest podcast, but it is essentially what I have been working on throughout the time that you have not seen me here with you. And it's about to be the theme, if you will, for the up and coming 2023 season and probably beyond. We are focusing on leaning in to letting go. I was looking through some of my old podcasts and I realized that my journey really has hinted to this subject matter. I have a podcast called Surrender. I have another podcast called Releasing the Resistance, letting go. And really, it has all culminated to now this new understanding that I have as I go to the next leg of the race, if you will, and begin to create this next part of my life. I realized that I actually have created up to this point a platform of survival in my life. So the direction and the foundation of what it is that I have been working on or what I've created, the people, places, and things that surround me are from an Alana's survival standpoint. That could be good, bad, or indifferent. But what I figured out is that where I currently am is where I'm going. And therefore, a lot of people, places, and things had to be dropped off. Kind of like when a rocket gets shot in the air, when it gets to a certain altitude, it starts dropping off portions of this rocket because not everything it started out with can come with it as it reaches its destination. And that's me. I'm a rocket. And I have a lot of wonderful experiences that have taught me a lot of wonderful things. And they served me where I was as I was really in a hunched down protection mode of self. The people, the places, and the things that I was choosing for myself, I chose those things in an effort to create a protective space around me. And you could also say that I chose people through the filter of protection, meaning I may not have chosen a relationship with a person who would be able to criticize me and hold me accountable. Or maybe not criticize is not the right word, direct me and give me advice that might be hard to take because I was in a protective mode. I also had spent so many years as other people's friend that held them accountable and helped them to grow, that I didn't leave any space there for me to receive people, places, and things that would do that for me at the level of which is going to help me to go to my next level, right? So now, or in the last few months, things started to get a little bumpy. There started to be some friction. There was a whole lot of second guessing myself. There was a whole lot of wondering, where the hell am I? Feeling like I had let go and I was now floating around in space with nothing to anchor me or to be attached to. Fortunately, I have a great support system, particularly in the three people who live in this house with me, my two sons and my husband. And so that made the process palatable, if you will. It was tough, but when you have what I have on the inside of me, knowing that nothing is going to keep me from my destiny, as you go through it and as you feel the pain of it or the discomfort of it, as you chip away at what needs to be peeled away, you still have this foundation, even though it may seem far away in the moment, you have this foundation of knowing that it's going to work itself out. And it always does. And in this case, I have learned so many amazing things. I have absorbed so much wisdom through tears I cried over what is going on and what is this place. I don't recognize this space. And really, it was a deeper vulnerability. Oftentimes we make changes and we get to a place in our life that feels like we've just made it. Because in comparison to where we've come from, the new understanding that we have, it just makes things so much brighter. But what I realize is when things are super dark, any amount of light is going to make it feel bright. And in those moments, that is what I needed. In the past, that little bit of light is what I needed. But I have been introduced to the reality that I am light. And I know you might be thinking, well, Alana, you didn't know that. It's not that I didn't know that. You can know something, but to fully understand it, for it to become a part of the fabric of your being, it's a little different, right? Like I can tell you that you're amazing and you're wonderful and that you got big things that are coming to you, but you still don't necessarily know how to get there. You still don't necessarily understand fully what I'm saying because you may have heard it before, because you may think she doesn't know me. There's a lot of filters there. There's a lot of barriers there that wisdom has to pass through before it reaches your full understanding. So it's one thing to be given a bit of information that you can now digest, but it is quite another for that information to become a part of you. And the truth is, it was always in there because that's who you were made to be. But you had a lot of layers of bullshit over the top of that. Things that you gathered along the way, kind of like walking through a trail. Maybe you're doing a little bit of climbing and trail walking and what have you, and you get back and your shoes are filled with things that you didn't even realize were there. It's not because you necessarily stepped into it, but it's kind of dust that has collected on you. And after a while, if you don't do something about that dust that's on those shoes, those little stickers and prickly things, and maybe even some small dead animals, if you don't do something about that, it will overtake that shoe and it could become recognizable if you leave the problem going for too long, or if you continue in that path for too long. It doesn't necessarily make the shoes not work properly, but the ease of use is not the same, right? And so, in the same way, on your journey, on my journey, I picked up some things along the way. And in the moment, it was okay to have them because my focus wasn't necessarily on thriving. It really was just to get from one step to the next. I just need a little bit of light for the step that I'm on. That's a famous quote. And in those moments, that's really all you can take. It's really all you can stomach, no matter how much you desire to be bigger, greater, stronger, happier, more fulfilled. I need it. I have to have it. But what's true is that God created the universe to understand what you really want. Yeah, you might want a husband, but he knows the kind of husband you want and the kind of relationship you want with that husband. Therefore, there's a kind of you that needs to surface in order to gather that. And generally, once you've done the work, your mind is in a different space where you can feel the feeling more naturally, and it feels like you as opposed to a feeling you're reaching for, thereby creating a frequency and a magnetism that brings you closer to those things that were meant for you. Because if they weren't meant for you, you wouldn't even have them there. Okay. So the desire is the proof that you can have it. So if you ever wanted something, I mean, really wanted it, not saw somebody else and thought, that might be a good career to have. Oh, I'll go ahead and do that. I mean, wanted it. I mean, saw yourself doing it, got excited about the idea of doing it, and you've walked away from it because it didn't happen necessarily. It is highly likely that it is still in the cards for you to have that. So if you ever feel the opportunity to go back and visit with that again, I suggest you do it. For at the very least, to get rid of it and know, okay, maybe this is not for me. But what'll generally happen is you'll go that route and realize you didn't throw it away. You just put it down and kind of forgot where you left it. And so I'm excited. I feel more mature. I feel more settled. I feel more understood. I feel more open. And for some of you, you may be thinking, Alana, I don't know how much more open you could be, but trust me on this. You would be amazed at the number of times that I stifle myself and I don't say this or I don't say that or I don't do this or I don't go to this place because I think, well, maybe that's a little bit too much. So I don't know. This next leg of the race may be jarring for you, but what I do know from my experience and from my research and from the work that I've done on me is that if you're here and you're watching this, no matter if this is triggering for you, this message and this journey and this wonderful community, because it is a wonderful community of people, it really is for you. And I want to lean in and I want to say, if anything that I say ruffles your feathers, if anything that I say makes you feel judged or makes you feel like she doesn't know what she's talking about, I want you to pause a moment. I don't want you to deny that feeling because you're allowed to feel whatever you feel. And those feelings are valid. But I want you to, even in your resistance of the message, even in your resistance that can often turn into judging, I want you to know confidently that you're plugged in, you're connected. And even if my message doesn't seem like it lands, it's for you. And oftentimes later, it will reveal itself in a way that you can better understand it. Or actually, what happens is you find yourself in a better mindset, in a different position where you're able to receive it. If you get offended by something that I say, I can assure you 100% without a doubt that it is not because I decided I was going to offend you. It's not because I decided to throw caution to the wind and say to hell with it. I'm just going to get out here and I'm going to cut some throats. Because everything that I do is steeped in compassion. Because I literally am who I needed when I was growing up. Compassion, understanding, lack of judgment. That's who I am. If what I say sounds like I'm judging you, maybe you're receiving it through a judgmental filter because your past has been laced with people judging you. But what I am doing is I am being the friend to you, the aunt to you, the mother to you, the wise counsel to you that you're not accustomed to. And that might be why it stings a bit or a lot. Because oftentimes we protect ourselves to the degree, I've done it, that not only are we keeping out the people who will harm us, but we're also keeping out those people with wise, uncomfortable words that can help us flourish. And it's okay if you get pissed. It's okay if you think she doesn't know what she's talking about. It's okay. Let yourself feel that and don't judge yourself. But just know that because of how this whole thing works, you've been presented with this information because you've asked for it. You've asked for something new. You want to get out of the situation you're in, the relationship, the place, the job that you're in, and you've asked for help. You just didn't realize it would come in the form of something that would sting so much. But once you get past that, if you stick with me, if you stay here through the things that might feel a little judgy, because remember, they're not intended for that, you will find that you will come to love yourself more. And that's what's most important. And when you love yourself more, love looks for you in every way. Every way. Love looks for you in you noticing a beautiful butterfly that just landed on your windshield, a gorgeous building that you think, has that always been there? And obviously it has, because it's a big ass building. They didn't just build it while you were asleep. So I just want to say in closing, I'm so grateful for you gathering a deeper understanding of leaning into letting go. It really is what we are, the new foundation that we're going to be building everything on this globe. This is the new world order, so to speak. We have exhausted all the possibilities with the grinding and the aggression that has worked in the past, the forcing yourself to have willpower in certain things, because what it has done is it has served its purpose, it has run its course, and it has been beautiful. But now it's a new thing. There's a cleansing going on. And the cleansing is bringing you out of all of that angst that has been created because you believed that a lot of these things that you're doing, a lot of these people, places, and things that you've associated yourself with that are causing you stress and overwhelm, you've made yourself believe that you're the problem. So you've pressed through and you've created a life of things that have been pressed through, tight, tense things. And now you're realizing that if you let go, all of the things that you created in hopes that it would keep other things from happening, you're now realizing that the happening of those things is the lesson and the wisdom that you've needed, the permission to not have to walk around with your dukes up ready for a fight. Leaning into letting go is an understanding that will really turn things on its head, but in a good way. You learning to let go is the one thing that's missing from you meeting your best self. I promise you. What you've done up to this point has served you well. But now it's time for you to put your hand in mine, and we're going to walk a little further before I let you go on your own way to create your own life of bliss and ease and love and gratitude and kindness and patience and generosity. I love you guys. I'm not even lying. I'm getting emotional. This community has been absolutely amazing to see some of the things that you guys say to one another in the comments, to see how you guys don't even know each other and you love on each other, to see how you guys, when other creators are concerned with the fact that they're getting negative comments and the bottom is falling out, you guys are in the comments loving on one another. Before I can even get to the comment and answer it, you guys are taking what you've learned by being a part of this community and you're using your compassion to spread the love. And it is so inspiring to see when so many people think the world is headed to hell in a handbasket. To look at this beautiful creative community that surrounds me, that has become a part of me, that I have become a part of it, and see how you guys love on one another instinctively, how you come here and you ask questions because you really want to be better, and you offer advice even to me on your journey. It is absolutely amazing. It is inspiring. It is anchoring. It is comforting, and it is love. And I am so grateful for it. You guys are magical. You keep me going when I think I'm ready to just throw in the towel. Is this really for me? I had some moments like that over the last few months. But coming back here with you guys is where I know I'm supposed to be, even though I needed to take a little bit of a break so that I could reconnect some things, shake some things off. And again, I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the coming days, weeks, months, years. It's an honor to be with you. And I am so grateful to help you dive deeper into and become very intimately acquainted with the idea of leaning in to letting go. Who loves you more than me? I can't imagine. Mwah.